The standard narrative of studying abroad is defined by smiles at the departure gate and a suitcase full of new clothes. But that story ends the moment the door to your dorm room snaps shut. You are standing in a 12 by 12 space with one tiny bed, one desk, and absolute silence. This is the vacuum, the moment the safety net of your family is removed, leaving you in total isolation. The sensory input of your environment changes completely. Home is a high-frequency wave of cooking, talking, and constant activity. Here, that wave abruptly flatlines. The only remaining stimuli are the hum of the air conditioner and random footsteps in the hallway. This sudden shift triggers a physiological shock. No one is monitoring your well-being. No one checks if you've eaten, if you return from the library, or if you are coping alone. Surviving the first night establishes the real nature of the experience. This is an unassisted survival scenario where every basic necessity requires a conscious effort. During the first 10 days, you enter a phase of practical paralysis. Long before you face your first exam, you have to navigate the exhausting friction of baseline human functions. A grocery run becomes a series of exhausting calculations. You spend 40 minutes in a single aisle, decoding local currencies, evaluating unfamiliar brands, and trying to choose between 20 types of bread just to assemble one meal. Mundane chores carry a disproportionate mental drain. In the communal laundry room, you are the only one who doesn't know the standard operating procedure. One mistake with a detergent dispenser can leave your clothes smelling of chemicals for 3 days. These daily tasks carry a heavy cognitive load. Actions that were once subconscious habits, buying food or finding a street, now require intense conscious effort. Every minor micro-decision drains your mental battery. You aren't tired from a heavy workload. You are burning massive amounts of mental energy simply existing in a space where nothing is intuitive. By the second week, the university system adds a new layer of friction. American universities move at a relentless speed, and professors expect you to track every deadline without a single reminder. As an international student, your brain is constantly overloaded. You are processing regional accents, adapting to foreign academic formats, and trying to formulate responses for fast-paced classroom discussions all at once. These three forces, cultural isolation, academic velocity, and communication barriers, converge to create severe imposter syndrome. You sit in the library late at night, secretly wondering if you were ever smart enough to be here in the first place. The social pressure adds to the weight. You watch peers who appear perfectly confident, forcing you to mask your own confusion to maintain the appearance of success. You are surviving on a volatile mix of caffeine, adrenaline, and homesickness. The emotional toll of constantly hiding your weakness is more exhausting than the assignments themselves. Weekends are the most vulnerable periods. Without the distraction of classes, the campus becomes silent as local students head home, leaving you trapped in your own thoughts. After 3 weeks of this compounding stress, digital reminders of the life you left behind become painful. You see photos of dinners and festivals where your absence is no longer even noticed. By day 17, you hit a definitive breaking point. The cumulative weight of these silent nights makes the cost of your dream feel too high. You find yourself searching for the price of flights back home. This absolute low is the necessary climax of the 30-day cycle. It forces a binary choice. You either retreat to the comfort of home, or you find a way to endure the pain of adaptation. To break the cycle of isolation, you have to force yourself into the unfamiliar campus environment. You stop waiting for comfort to arrive and start seeking it out. So you begin a self-imposed exposure therapy. You explore the campus alone, initiate awkward conversations in cafes, and utilize every digital and physical resource the university offers. Predictable routines map the territory. Fixing your morning coffee, library session, and laundry schedule turns a hostile environment into a manageable space. As interactions repeat, connection lines solidify. You are no longer a visitor. You're building a stable ecosystem. Adaptation isn't a sudden epiphany. It is the quiet, deliberate accumulation of small victories, managing your own money, solving your own problems, and handling your own stress. In the 4th week, your perspective shifts. The dorm room that once felt like a prison becomes a personal haven, a space you have claimed as your own. And this is the reality of independence. It is the heavy, empowering responsibility of being entirely accountable for your own life without a safety net to catch you. The initial isolation was the mechanism required to strip away your reliance on external validation. It taught you how to think clearly in the silence. You walk out of that dorm room with quiet, durable confidence.